Not only did I survive brain cancer, but in the middle of all of this, with the odds against me, I built a multi-million-dollar business. And the biggest question is, why is the world living as if they're gonna live forever? Because I'm gonna show you how I didn't even know if I was gonna wake up the next day. And in this video, I'm gonna show you how beating brain cancer taught me how to destroy procrastination, fear, and mediocrity, and how I turned those three things into a multi-million-dollar online business. But most importantly, I'm gonna show you how you can build the same mindset without having to go through the hell that I went through. And to be honest with you, and you think I'm crazy for saying that, watch this till the end of the video and you're gonna see exactly what I'm talking about. In March 6, 2016 was the day that my life changed forever. I woke up, I was driving to the gym, I thought it was a beautiful day, and I was in such a good mood that I decided to FaceTime my girlfriend while I was driving. I was going 65 miles an hour in one of the busiest highways in the country, and suddenly she's watching me have a seizure, and I woke up in a ditch, unconscious. There was no car damage, there was no injury, but I was unconscious. She knew where I was going, and suddenly the ambulance came. They broke into my car, they pulled me out, put me on a stretcher, and took me straight to the hospital. And there was a huge unknown of what was actually going on. And this is where the unknown came into play. We had no idea what was going on. The doctors said, we don't know if this guy's on steroids, we don't know if this guy's doing drugs, we don't know if this guy's completely just lost it. And so they did every single test that they could do to figure out what was happening. And suddenly they said, he's not on drugs, he's not drunk, he's not doing anything. We're gonna have to go get a brain scan to see what's going on. I go get an MRI, and the guy comes back and he's super nervous, and he says, you guys are gonna have to go see an oncologist because something is massive in his head. It was literally the size of this. This was literally in my head, right here. That was it, boom. And when we found out that this was in my head, was when things went from, okay, well, let's just see what's happening, to this could be significantly serious. And I'll never forget meeting this one man that sparked so much emotion in me, with anger, with fear, with just hopelessness. And he was a brain surgeon, and he said, with this being in your head, at your temporal lobe, you are not gonna be able to speak or hear if we get a brain surgery. And you have two options. You could either get a brain surgery and you don't speak or hear again, or you could run the risk of having a very short lifespan of probably about a 1-year life expectancy, and you will no longer be here. My heart immediately sunk. I had no clue what to do, what to think. I had no idea what the situation was. He did. And we left that doctor's appointment, and my mom looked at me and she said, we're not gonna be working with that surgeon. He doesn't seem confident. He's already determining a negative outcome before we've even gotten into this situation. And in 48 hours, we met with the top brain surgeon in the world, and what he told me completely changed my life forever. He evaluated the whole situation with this being in my head, and as soon as I saw him, I said, the other brain surgeon that I saw just said that I won't speak or hear after this surgery, or I have about a 1-year life expectancy. What's your take on that? He said, don't even worry about this. This would be a cakewalk. He said, if I'm doing the surgery, this would be so easy that you'll just walk out, everything's all fine, don't even worry about it, just trust my process and do exactly what I say. And I was just thinking, these are the top brain surgeons in the world doing a life-threatening job, and one says a completely opposite answer from the other, and it just shocked my mind like never before. So I gave that man my life. And he said, we're gonna have surgery tomorrow morning. It starts within less than 24 hours. And now the real journey began. In the morning I woke up to go to the hospital. That was a scene that I will never ever forget. I walked in to my brain surgery. In the hospital, it's dark, and there's one family over here crying, one family over here sleeping, another family crying. It's because all of their loved ones are currently in a surgery, and I'm about to go be somebody having that surgery with a chance, a 50-50 chance of losing my speaking and hearing ability. But this doctor said it won't happen, and that was probably the most risky, insane claim that I've ever heard anybody state, especially with somebody's life on the line, that this won't be a problem at all, yet it still has a very high potential chance. I'm put onto a stretcher, they push me into the surgery room, and as soon as those doors open, I see Doctor 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 in a room with glass covering them, preparing for the surgery, put onto the stretcher, and they say, hey, we're gonna wake you up halfway through the surgery to ask you a few questions. If you can speak and hear, we're gonna continue the surgery. If you can't, we have to cut the surgery short and leave whatever is left in this into your brain. And boom, they knocked me out. And now the surgery began. And as we're going through this, I'll never forget when they woke me up to ask me these questions. You know, who is the president? What's your brother's name? Where are you from? How old are you? And I was answering them with so much detail to show that I could actually speak and hear. And thankfully I could. And now the surgery was complete, and I thought the story was over, but it only just began. The surgeon comes into the room a day or two later and says, hey, we removed 100% of this. Everything is clear. You can speak and hear. Well on your way. And it was an amazing journey. And I thought it was a cool, fun little story to tell with really nothing to worry about, and that was it. But that wasn't it. A whole new story began that I genuinely did not ever expect. We go in to meet with a neuro-oncologist, and I didn't even know we had to meet with them because I thought because this is 100% fully removed, the story's over, but it's not. And so we go in there, and I'm just kind of chilling. I wasn't in a mood to feel happy or sad. I was just there because I thought I had to be there. The doctor sits down, scratches her head, looks around. She's in like this constant like weird energy. And I'm like, why is she acting like that? And she looks up and she says, this is a stage 4 glioblastoma brain tumor. You have about a 1 to 10 year life expectancy. We can't really help you. We're gonna give you chemotherapy and radiation. That's all we've got. I'm sorry to tell you that. And my heart just went, phew, just immediately sunk. Like just completely fell apart. And I'll never forget that moment. Because I thought it was over. Like I thought it was a cool story to tell, but it literally just like, it just began. And so when I'm listening to the top people in the world with like, who are some of the most intelligent people, and they say like, we can't help you. Like, what do I do? So my dad says, okay, so is there like anything that he should take that could help? Like spinach or, I don't know, turmeric or anything? And she's like, it's not gonna help. It won't do anything. Sorry, it's a deep story. And he says, okay, so he should go drink alcohol, have burgers and fries, and like this will never positively or negatively affect anything in his entire journey. And she's like, that's correct. It's not gonna help. It's not gonna hurt. This is what's gonna happen. And it was literally like as if it was like a human God, like telling you like, this is how your life is gonna go. And in that moment was when I just felt so weak and like nothing would ever go my way, or like, I genuinely did not expect that I was like that. Let me take a sip. Yeah. I didn't expect that was me. That like I was gonna get the worst possible news that anybody could ever get. So we left there, and this is when real depression started setting in. I was so weak that I genuinely did not want to wake up. I started questioning like why I was alive. Who wants to have somebody in their life that has this sort of situation? Because if it's gonna be nothing but bad news, who wants to wake up to just have somebody in their life knowing that they received bad news? So I was like, I basically like isolated myself, and I almost didn't want to be here. So I was like, what do I do? But discovering this one thing took me from complete hopelessness to a whole new journey of what I call achieving the impossible. I went paddleboarding with one of my friends who wanted to have a chat. He said, hey, have you heard of the ketogenic diet? And this is 9 years ago, 10 years ago. And I was like, no, I've never heard of that. I've never seen it on the internet ever before. He said, you should definitely look into this. He said, Duke University has a study showing that it could shrink tumors, prevent tumor regrowth, fight depression, help overcome anxiety, and help you lose weight, and even help reduce inflammation, and even helps people fight type 2 diabetes. And I was like, what? I was like, I've never heard of this. Nobody has ever talked about it. I don't see it on Instagram. I don't see it anywhere. So that night I went home and I just started researching what is the ketogenic diet, and all of the studies that he mentioned were actually true. And I was in shock. Like, did the doctors at the top cancer center in the world not ever know about this? Why did they not tell me? At least something to do, right? Whether it works or it doesn't, I don't know. But why did they not tell me? And I was so excited. The next day I woke up, I didn't know what I was doing. I just went all into it because I had no time to waste. I couldn't afford excuses. I couldn't afford procrastination. I couldn't afford falling into fear. I couldn't afford these things. It was either you live or you die. It was no kind of like half in, half out. And I had to go all into it. And so I did. And I just started eating eggs, and then I had like, an avocado, and then I started having meat, and I was like, wow, this is pretty easy to do. And it gave me a hope. It gave me an adventure. A lot of times people don't have something to chase, and humans always need something to go after. And a lot of times people become depressed because they don't have something to chase. And that was me. I didn't have anything to chase, but in this one moment, I did. But then I still wondered in my head, was this really the answer that could turn this story into what I truly wanted it to be, or was it a complete hoax? I go back to the top cancer center in the world at MD Anderson Cancer Center. I met with the top neuro-oncologist, nutritionist. I said, have you ever heard of the ketogenic diet? And one lady scratched her head and said, I've never heard of that. What is it? I was in shock. I was a 19, 20-year-old kid, just looked up ketogenic diet from Duke University, saw life-changing results, and she has never heard of it. It blew my mind. And so I left there with so much just like anger. And it's not necessarily anger on her or like that individual, but it was just anger of like, it's one little thing that could have just said like keto diet, and that's it. And it would change the game forever. But I had to figure it out myself. I went to go see Dr. Conrad in Austin, Texas, and he said, you want some hope, you want some things to go after? And I said, please, just give me something. It could be spinach. He said, follow what is called the low-carb diet, AKA keto diet. He said, I want you to have turmeric, I want you to have CBD, I want you to have curcumin, I want you to have, mushroom, like all these things. And I got so excited because I was like, oh my God, I'm like, yeah, okay, I'm taking notes. Like, I'm gonna take exactly what you tell me to take. And the next day, the news that I got was just so shocking. I got a report that he was dead. And to this day, I still don't know how he has suddenly went from perfectly healthy, giving me some of the best news that I could ever hear, to then dead the next day. And I called in, I said, how did this guy die? What happened? They said, I'm sorry, we can't disclose that. He's just no longer with us. Is there anything I can help you with? I hung up the phone, and I'm just still in just so much, I'm just questioning everything. How did this just happen? But then I realized this is my calling. I started documenting my journey following the ketogenic diet while I was in college. And as I'm doing this, I'm losing weight. I'm getting super lean. And I'm in the middle of chemotherapy and radiation. And people are in shock. They're thinking that this is fake. They're thinking that the photos are not real. They're thinking I'm lying about the cancer situation. They're thinking I'm making this ketogenic diet up. And I'm getting significant amount of hate, but significant amount of curiosity. And the curiosity opened up so many doors in the next stage of my life. I started growing with so many followers that I ended up creating a little ketogenic diet business. Just saying, hey, this is exactly what I've been eating. This is what I've been doing. If you want to buy the little program, it's $75. It's up to you. And suddenly, it was getting sale after sale after sale. And it was my dream ever since I got to college to create a business to end up being able to drop out. And this was before I had this whole cancer diagnosis. And I was sitting there and I saw I made $800 in the middle of class while I'm learning the most ridiculous math. And I started questioning, I need to figure out how to drop out. I was telling my girlfriend at the time, look, I'm gonna make so much money so that whenever one day, whenever you're out of college, we can travel the world together. We can go live an incredible life with money never being a problem, and we don't have to worry about it. I'm gonna stay at the campus. I'm gonna do my work. You stay in college. We got 2 more years left. Let's make this happen. And she never could actually believe what I was trying to tell her. And one day I received a text that just broke my heart in half. We immediately met up. We sat down for 5 minutes and she said, I'm ending this all. And I never to this day have known why it was ended. It was in the middle of my chemotherapy, radiation, diagnosis, business building, dreams, hope, new life, new journey, to then plummeting completely back down. We were together for 4 years, high school, all the way through college. And I sat there in my room, just bawling my eyes out. And she's now at the football game. She went to a party. I have no friends in college. I have questioned everything. I immediately called my mom and said, I need to get out of here. I'm making enough money. I can live on my own if you want me to, or if I could live with you guys. It's up to you. Just let me know what I need to do. And she said, I'm going to be there tomorrow morning. Pack everything up and let's get you out of there. And receiving news like that was the worst news. That was almost worse or hit me as much as the diagnosis. But it ended up becoming some of the best news that I could ever get. I ended up growing my coaching business, making $20K a month, $30K a month, and it became so big that somebody I looked up to for so many years said, I want to join you. I want to become business partners. And I said, yes, like this is amazing. I am so excited. It gave me hope and restored my heart from this breakup and a new journey to go after and achieve dreams that I thought were impossible to now becoming a reality. But the reality that set in when we became business partners was not what I really expected. After a year of working together, I was putting in my blood, sweat, and tears every single day, just grinding and making money. And suddenly I only hear from him maybe once a month for maybe a 10-minute check-in call. He's in South Africa. He's traveling the world. I'm making all this money. I've given him 40% ownership of the business with a $0 investment. Yes, I was a 20-year-old idiot, didn't know what I was doing. I was just grinding every day to make money. I trusted somebody so much that I was willing to do it because that's what I believed was gonna happen. And everything that I worked for completely fell apart. This time, about 8 years ago, we met up to have a discussion that just hit me so hard again. It was somebody I genuinely looked up to, and I said, we're gonna have to end this. I'm putting in so much work every day. We've made a ton of money, but I've given literally half of it to you. Do you wanna just end this and stay great friends? Money's not a problem for you. You know, I'm just trying to make my money to live and operate while I'm being an entrepreneur, you know, or do I need to pay you, buy you out legally like it says? It's up to you. He said, yeah, buy me out. My heart sunk again. I had to pay him $100,000. All the money I made, all the blood, sweat, and tears I put in, back to zero. But that didn't stop me. It honestly recreated me. I began that new year just going all in more than ever before. And funny enough, the business was taking off so much. I had another individual on Instagram message me wanting to join the business, offered me literally the same offer. And I was like, no. And he kept coming back and I said no. And he kept coming back and I said no. He did this for months and months and months, and I've never met the guy one time in my entire life. And he said, look, I'm gonna work with you for free. If you like what I'm delivering for free, let's work together. If not, forget it, you didn't lose any money. And I said, okay. And within 1 month, he's delivering more for free than the guy I paid a ton of money to. And because he showed, right, he didn't just tell, he showed. That is what gained trust with me. We ended up becoming business partners, making over $50,000 a month, and my life completely found its purpose. I then began writing my book called Thank You Cancer on my journey overcoming brain cancer. It became a top seller. It has changed so many people's lives all across the world, and it just shows that being diagnosed with cancer went from the worst thing that could ever happen to me to the best thing that could ever happen to me. And we've now built a 7-figure coaching business, helping people take their story from what they have been through to turn it to something that could change people's lives and help them make money that they never thought they could ever see. And it's doing it in a way that makes them feel fulfilled, not just making money, not just getting into coaching to do something. It's to make them feel fulfilled. And to this day, 9 years later, I'm now here in Bali, Indonesia, doing something I've literally dreamed of as a kid. And I was completely cancer-free. I had to get my MRI before this. Nothing is there. It's been 9 years. No tumor reoccurrence at all. I've been through intermittent fasting. I've done 5-day fasting, 3-day fasting. I did 1 meal a day for literally 3 years. Put my blood, sweat, and tears into all this. I'm still living such an amazing, healthy lifestyle, and I'm financially free. I cannot be more grateful for all the things that I have actually been through. And what I learned through all of this is that the worst things that have happened to me have turned into the best things that have ever happened to me. And if you're going through something right now, it seems you literally are thinking that's impossible, because that's what I thought. Because I will tell you this, those dark times create you into the new person that you are today. And Steve Jobs said it himself, is that you can only connect the dots when you look backwards. But it depends on how you look backwards. Some people look backwards thinking, that's me. That's who I'm always going to be. But if you take yourself looking backwards into shaping it into a new path forward, that's how you can take your story to inspire people all across the world, to help them create a new life like you can or like you have. I've been a misfit my entire life. I feel like I've never fit in. I feel like I've always just been different than everybody else. But now that I look at it, being a misfit with all my different story, my different diagnosis, my different trauma that I've been through, my different life, it's been the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. Because my one story, if it helps and changes one life, then that's all that matters. And your story can do the same thing. And if you're ready to take your story to a new life, to now taking this new life that you have created, to now wanting to change other people's lives and to even make money from it, click the link below. You're gonna see an entire course on exactly how to build your own personal brand through your story to get clients and change people's lives. With that being said, guys, you know what they say, you have one day and you have one life. You make it happen.